So we spend thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and just because you buy something with the name luxury in it, does that mean you're not going to have any issues? Well, you want to stay tuned to this video because we've already had some major issues and we're going to talk about that today. So let's roll. So to get those of you up to date who are just maybe watching this video for the first time, my name is Michael, my wife's name is Chris. We have this channel, we call it the MK Experience, Michael and Chris Experience, but we talk about all things RVing. And recently, as a part of our story, we have jumped from a 2020 Riverstone Legacy 39 FKTH fifth wheel, and we've become Class A's now. We jumped to a 2020 Newmar Mountain Air Motorcoach. Our floor plan is the 45-43 floor plan, which we love. But as a lot of you know, when you take something that goes down the highway through a tornado and a hurricane, when you're out there on the highways and the byways, and maybe you could add earthquake to that. Things are just going to happen. But we're learning a lot about the Class A world, and maybe a lot of you may think like, hey, if you jump to the luxury line of things, are things any better as far as mechanical breakdowns? And my answer to that is absolutely no. It is not any better. You still have little things that are constantly happening, and we've had some things happen to us this week. Now, if you're not familiar with the Newmar line and where the Mountain Air, which is what we have, falls into the lineup, it starts with the King Air, and then they have the Essex, and then they have the London Air, and at the bottom of the food chain in the luxury line is the Mountain Air. Now, it's by no means the bottom of the food chain, but in their line it is just got us over into what they would call their luxury line. When you drop below the Mountain Air, now you're into the Dutch Star, which we looked at Dutch Stars, and they're great coaches too. So just wanted to give you an idea of where we fall in that lineup. So we love the coach so far, and we're still learning lots about it. However, in these last 2 weeks, we've had some things go wrong with us. We shared a little bit in our last video. We had, right off the bat, we had some chassis battery issues, which are our crank batteries. So we had to go out and purchase 2 of those. And I want to share, why we had to go and do that. And that was because this coach is about 5 years old. So the batteries, I think, were maybe somewhere between a 2020 and a 2022. Well, our full slide is down the driver's side of the coach, and they suggest that you turn the coach on and run the coach whenever you're going to bring that slide in and out. Don't just rely on shore power, because apparently if you're doing it off the batteries, it runs off of the chassis batteries, which I didn't know that. Well, we had storms coming through here, maybe like a lot of you, a lot of windstorms coming in. So while we were still in the sticks and bricks house yet, we would come in and we'd run that slide out in and out. Well, it just ended up maxing out those batteries because I didn't always have the coach running, and so those batteries just died. So maybe that was on me and the battery life. Not a big deal. We went out and went to Interstate Batteries, and we purchased 2 batteries back there in that bay. But that was a little bit of an issue because we were trying to get in it, and we wanted to do some work, and actually it ran out just a little bit, so the slide was sticking out. But you know what? We ran out there, crisis averted, and we got the batteries in, and everything worked fine. But I'm going to take you into some of the bays, because one of the biggest issues that we had, the most major issue that we had, is for some reason the electric coming into the coach was not being distributed to where it needed to be distributed. Now, we have the Silverleaf system, in which Chris and I are still learning the Silverleaf system. So what's supposed to happen is power comes into the coach off of your 50 amp shore power, and there is a module that kind of takes that signal and decides, okay, where I need to, it sheds some of the power so it can push it over to other places. And that ended up not working. We couldn't figure out what it was for a little while, but we only had one air conditioning working. And of course, you guys know, in a coach, in any kind of RV, when it's 75 degrees or hotter and the sun is out, boy, those things get like a furnace. So it was heating up in there, and we had to spend a couple nights with just the living room air conditioner running till we could figure out what the problem was. So I was crawling in all kinds of bays this last 2 weeks, and I want to show you some of the bays that I had to crawl in so you can get an idea what it's like in a Class A when you have to play mechanic. And there's always pretty tight places, and you guys know it, there's always things that are just like buried. And you go, why would you bury that thing back there? Because somebody's gonna have to work on it, and somebody's gonna have to spend a lot of money. But as you guys know, you end up kind of playing RV mechanic if you can. And I'm not the super handiest guy, but when it comes to some electronic stuff and wiring, I have a decent knowledge of some of that stuff. So I'm dangerous. I'm enough to be dangerous, but I'm not afraid to tackle any issues. However, and then the other thing, we talked about MacGyvering last week when we talked about the master bedroom. And when you buy a new to you coach, you find the other guys MacGyvering. And we found some MacGyvering done by the previous owners of this coach. And I'm going to show you that here in a little bit, and what they did and how we had to call Newmar because we are going to replace all of them. Actually, things are missing. And I'll show you what they did, and that is inside the coach. So let's start jumping in here to some of the bays that I had to climb in, and I'll show you some of the things that I had to do. Let's do it. Okay, I've taken some things out here, but this is our fourth bay on the passenger side. And this is where I had to get to check on this Silverleaf module. And as you can see here, there's a little bit going on here in this bay. We have our central vac system, which is right here. Here you have some more electronics over here. And when I first came into this bay and they had me look for this module, I was really hoping it was that one right there because, hey, you know what? That would have been really easy to get to. No, not quite that easy to get to. Now this has a manual slide out tray, which is nice. It's enough, and the carpet is nice and cozy, but I'm going to show you here exactly where I had to get to here. So if it gets kind of dark and wobbly, I apologize for a second. So this is the module that I had to get to and disconnect. I hope the lighting's okay. And this is the TM250. And what I did is they wanted me to disconnect the power, which is this cable right here, which plugs in over here on the main end of this module. And the story was, they said if you disconnect that and you go in, turn on all three of your ACs, make sure they're all running, and then go ahead, turn on your stove, your cooktop, go ahead, run the microwave for a little bit, just run some other things along with the AC units on, and if that makes it, then you're good to go to know that this module is not doing its job of what it's supposed to be doing with either shedding or distributing the power. Now that's my basic understanding in being on the phone with Day Brothers RV, which by the way, George at Day Brothers has been and Anthony both, we have called them and talked to them about some of these issues, and they have been working with me, which is amazing, because from what I understand, this module right here is going to end up costing, I think, anywhere from $450 to $500. That is going to be shipped my way, that I guess I'll get to play electrical engineer or mechanic or installer or technician, whatever word you want to use, and put that in. So as I crawl out of here, sorry about that noise. Yeah, but that was one of our main issues that we have had trouble with since we brought the coach back from London, Kentucky. So a couple bays down from where we just were right here towards the tail end of the coach is where our chassis batteries are. And I just wanted to show you this layout back here. So these are the brand new batteries that we installed in here, and they are the 31 MHD. So if you go to Interstate and you're looking for your crank batteries, that is the crank batteries that we have back here in the back, as well as the air dryer and fuel filter and all that kind of stuff. Here down in this bay, I won't open it right now, but there are fuses down in this bay as well. And anyway, I just wanted to show you that. That was I don't know, I think we paid about $250 a piece for those batteries from Interstate, but they were great there to work with. Pretty easy to hook all those up, but I just wanted to show you that was one of our issues that we ended up having. Okay, this next bay I'm going to take you into is actually our wet bay, which we haven't had any issues with the wet bay, and I apologize. Oh, okay, the sound just got quieter. All right, that's our Oasis system, which is our hot water and our heat in the coach that was just running, so that was a little bit noisy. But I want to show you something that's really neat and innovative in the engineering at Newmar, and how they build these bay doors when we have the slide out, which we have out right here above our heads. They actually build it so that this door opens and comes down, so it doesn't run in to the edge of your slide out here, which I think is sometimes it's the little things, but you can watch it drops down and it just misses that, which is really cool. The wet bay, I really like how they've designed the wet bay here. I mean, I've seen some pretty amazing wet bays, like when you get up to the Prevost line, the Marathon, all those guys, I mean, the stainless steel and all decked out. But I've actually cleaned out this. I hope it looks clean since we've owned it, and put some paper towels up in the paper towel holder, and I keep some Lysol wipes in the coach, and I try to keep everything cleaned and wiped down. But I love the way that it's laid out. We have the macerator too that's a part of this, and honestly I haven't used it yet, so I look forward to giving that. We've been doing it the old school way up to this point, and then you can see the filter up there. But I really like how this is laid out, and getting to learn all of it. And the only thing that was missing from the previous owner was this cap that is missing, which I have called Newmar, and there is one that is on its way. So that'll alleviate that. But I just wanted to show you that, and I love how these bay doors open and close and drop down. All right, so this is another bay that I have been in a lot, and this is one of our main electrical bay, and you can see they've got it warning. So this is where our 50 amp comes in, and where our reel is, and the switch is right here to reel that back in. But there's quite a bit going on in here, and I was on with Newmar's tech support and was in here. Now the one thing that's really nice is we have a built-in shore guard surge protector here, but you know what, guys, we are also using our other shore guard on the plug-in, so we are double protecting ourselves, because you guys know you have thousands of dollars worth of electronics inside these things, and boy, it doesn't take much. It could wipe everything out in one shot. So I'll show you that where we've got our other one on the outside, and then we got this one on the inside. And I kept this panel over here to the outside, and it's just got a Velcro, as you can see there. So really high-tech stuff going on here inside this luxury motor coach bay. I guess it does a trick, but I kept it off just so you could see, and you can see where it Velcros right over here. It might be too dark for you to see, but you look at all that spaghetti going on. Now, I'd like to say that I understand everything that's going on there and where all those wires are running to and from, but the honest answer is that I don't. However, I can tell you I was on with Newmar and their customer service, which has also been really great to work with, their customer service and their parts, because we have had to order parts for this thing as well, and they have shipped them to us really fast, and super nice folks to deal with. But I had to replace, if you can see my finger, I had to replace this fuse down here because we had an issue there, and as you can see off here to the right, there is another Silverleaf module. I don't know if it might be too dark back there, but just, you know, it's all a learning experience, and you know, you almost like take notes in your head or write notes down, you know, once you talk to somebody from Newmar. So in case you have these repeating issues, you know, you kind of know where to go to right away. Okay, so welcome inside the coach here. I want to show you this. This is came from Newmar, and this is going to be our next thing that I wanted to talk about. This is where we found some MacGyvering done by the previous owner. So we had to call Newmar so we could fix it and put it back to the way that it came from the factory, just because we like the way that it came from the factory better than what the MacGyvering did with, you know, the previous owner did on this coach. But I just wanted to show you, this box came to us from Newmar. Sharp looking box, branded, really nice packaged, really nice. So I haven't even torn into it yet. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to show you guys exactly what is inside this box. All right, so I cut the box open here, and let's take a look. Looks like it is bubble wrap. You know, this is always entertaining to do, so when you get bored and you want to start popping these things, Chris and I will probably do that later. But this is, well, wow, look at this. This is what I wanted to show you that we had to get. So these are filters for our cold air returns. And I'll show you, this is what is supposed to be in each vented area, or where we have 3 ACs on the top of this roof. This is what's supposed to be there. And not only that, these are supposed to be there. And now maybe you're starting to kind of catch on to what is going on or what hasn't been going on. So let me show you a little bit of the previous owner's MacGyvering. So our AC units are very neatly tucked up in here, and we love the ceiling design in here, and it's really neat. But it was a bit of a mystery for Chris and I, because we could look up in between these louvers, and you probably can't see it because it's too dark, but we could see that there is a filter there, and it's very dirty, and all of them were. And so I was thinking, my gosh, how do you get to that? Because every single tile up here, I mean, they all look the same. They all look like they're mounted the same. There's LED backlighting going on, but we have one here and we have another one here, and it was like this big mystery to Chris and I called Day Brothers again, because we didn't go over how do you get inside these to clean this down. So maybe you're a Newmar owner, maybe you own the same coach that we do. I'm not sure if they're similar, but each one of these tiles is held up by a magnet on one end, and on ours it is towards the passenger side. So this side, not this side, the driver's side, is the passenger side. And if you grab right here and you just give it a good little yank, you can see there's 2 magnets, and look what you can see, the MacGyvering that went on. So all of the vents are completely taken out, and they're just full throttle. They're just wide open. And then they went and purchased some of this filter material, and look at that, velcroed it up there so that it just sits there just like that. I'm sure that that's probably a cheaper way to go about it. But we want to be able to turn the louvers in a certain direction, and then the filters that we got from Newmar are actually charcoal filters, so they're a better filter. They're more durable. You can rewash them. So that's why we liked what it was supposed to come with. But this is what it came with on every single one, from the living room in through the bedroom, and some of them were even missing these, but you can see all the dirt right there. So I'm getting ready to go to work and install all the right vents and filters in each one of these. Okay, I just want to show you real quick. I've got all of these laid out. These are all the ones that we have to replace and put in. Our filters are right here, and I wanted to show you real quick on how I'm going to put these these new filters in. So these just pop out of here, and you squeeze these ends in, and then the vent part here, the louvers, actually pop out, and here's your filter, and then it goes down over the top of here like so, and there's a placeholder, and I'm going to push it in there a little bit tighter, but I wanted to see you on the front end, and you're good to go. Snap that in, and now I have to put it up in the ceiling. Pretty easy to install. I'll show you the final product here. I had to go grab a little step stool here to show you, but there is the finished product right there. So I can see why they probably wanted to MacGyver it, because they didn't want to have to fool with pulling these down and then breaking the louvers off to set the filter down in there. But I just think it looks neater. I don't know, I think it looks cleaner. I like the filters better. Like I said, Newmar told me that they are washable, so we'll be able to wash them and get a good, I think they said we should at least be able to get a good year or more out of them. So anyway, I think it looks better. You guys will have to let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, but it looks neater and cleaner. And I do want to let you know, if you have a Newmar, like I ended up taking this screw off, which attaches up here. It just gives you a little bit more room to get in here, especially when you have to put that one all the way in the back. But I just want to let you know too, these magnets are really stout. So when they latch, they're pretty strong. So now I get to repeat this same process through the rest of our coach. So here I go. Okay, so as you can see, even our Mountain Air is not perfect. Is any RV perfect? I don't know. I think, you just have to roll with the punches, when they come, and it's disappointing, it kind of hits you as like, oh man, are you kidding me? Like, how much is this going to cost? I think that's the big question, right? Each time something happens.
Well, and what's interesting is, in my lifetime, believe it or not, other than when I think I was in high school, I have never purchased a used vehicle. So I've always had a brand new vehicle. I've been lucky enough. And it just comes with certain warranties, and there's just certain expectations that give you a sense of just, I guess, comfort, knowing that, you've got some time to work out all the bugs, and you've got a, what do you call it, a warranty, right?
Yes.
You've got a secure warranty, and we have purchased an extended warranty, but that of course takes a little bit of time to kick in. So that's something that I'm sure we will use. We used our extended warranty a number of times on our fifth wheel.
Yeah, and although we didn't have anything really big, I mean, our hot water heater in that was, a big thing that was,
but that wasn't covered.
Yeah, we had to pay for that.
We had to pay for that
because that was apparently Mother Nature.
Yeah,
Mother Nature's fault, which really was. But I have to say this though. You know what? Like, probably like a lot of you. So initially, we have an owner's manual, which is like a million pages, and you try to go through it and try to find. But you know what? Those owner manuals, I don't know. Some things good about them, some things that are not. So at the end, you end up having to phone a friend. You reach out and phone a friend. And I just want to say this, Anthony at Day Brothers and George, who's the manager, service manager over there, has been great. And I've called them. They're probably like, I'm going to block this guy's number from calling.
Like, high maintenance client.
But they've been really great. Also, I got to say, Newmar's customer service and parts department has been super helpful, and I highly recommend that if you're a Newmar owner and you have any questions, they will help you. They will go outside with you and talk you through things and suggest some things. But we found, with that electric problem that we had, that I showed you, that Silverleaf module, before we had got that far, we did have to call a service tech and have a service tech come out, and $300 later,
Big fat zero.
And nothing, yeah, that was a kind of flushing more. You know what? You're like, have you ever had to call the service tech and at the end of the day, you're like, well, that was kind of a waste of money. Really didn't do anything. There was a transfer switch that needed to be checked to make sure that it was working as part of that power issue, because we didn't get to the Silverleaf module yet at that point. So we thought it could be in that bay that I showed you earlier. And so I needed to have that checked, and I don't have a meter, nor did I know where the transfer switch was in there, so we had to call the service tech. They came out and he put a meter on it. All he did was verify everything was cool to that point. He goes, somewhere beyond this point is your issue, which ended up being that Silverleaf module that I showed you guys earlier. So you always hate it when you got to call a service tech. Super nice guy, his name was Charlie. A good guy, but it was $300 down the drain.
And the next recommendation was you're going to have to take it into the shop to have them assess it.
And you're like, when you're living in it and all your belongings are in it, you're like, yeah, no, that does not sound like like a good idea. So that's why we went that route. Anyway, everybody's been super helpful in this process. I didn't talk about this earlier in the video, but we had an airbag issue too going on at the rear of the coach. The front end was airing up, but the rear of the coach was not airing up. And so I had to call, because I'm like, I don't understand. We had to move the coach. We wanted to go put some diesel fuel in it and all that kind of stuff, but I could tell. And then it was giving me an indication on the screen, that it wasn't at ride height. So I tried what I know, even looked in the manual, and then I phoned a friend. And reached out to Anthony, and he wasn't sure. He tried to help, he wasn't sure. I did end up calling Spartan's customer service, and the guy there was super helpful, gave me 3 things to try, and he goes, you know what, the third thing is a manual way to put the air in. There's Schrader valves at the back of this coach that you can manually fill all the airbags to either level it, or if you're broke down on the side of the highway, which is great. He goes, but if that's the issue, you got a really big issue. And we're like, no, we don't want any more big issues. Anyway, it wasn't that, thank God. His first idea, I tried it and it leveled up. So we were good to go. So we were sweating it for a little bit. So
what was the first idea?
Well, the first idea, he just said, look, you always have to make sure that you watch your gauges and make sure you're either 150 PSI or higher before you do anything. And so I don't know if I got ahead of myself and I didn't wait. I can't, I did so many things I don't remember, but he just said, start there, start with that. Make sure the airbags are all the way aired up in your gauges, then go ahead and on level, and then you run your slides, et cetera, et cetera. Option 2 was, he said it could be a weight issue, and when your slide outs are out, he said it's going to add weight to the coach, and that might be an issue if you're on level ground on top of it. So then option 2 was run your slide ins 50%. And he said, then try it again and see what happens. And then it was option 3 was the manual airing up them individually, which he goes, that's not a good sign. Yeah. So thank God I didn't have to do that, but you live and learn. You take your lumps. Like I said earlier in the video, sometimes it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when something's going to happen, and then you have to be prepared, to take, I don't know, you could say take your lumps or just stay calm, because sometimes, you get upset. This one over here.
I'm having to learn not to get upset, because obviously it doesn't help.
It doesn't help anything. It's like, why God? Why?
Yeah.
Anyway, kind of thing. And it just worked out. So the vents were kind of funny. That was kind of a funny thing, but I couldn't find anybody on YouTube that had done that kind of a video. So maybe this will help another fellow Newmar owner down the road that had this issue. I had to laugh though when I thought, there's a MacGyver idea,
I just couldn't believe how filthy they were. I mean, obviously we don't know how long that they had been in there before they'd been replaced in the past. So we will definitely have a schedule and be doing it much more regularly, especially seeing how dirty they were.
Exactly. Okay, so do us a favor. Share with us your horror story. What happened to you that you found MacGyvered, or you had to MacGyver, or something that just broke down on you on the highway and you had to hire a tech to come in, and you were really bummed out and you stayed patient, or maybe you got angry. leave that comment in below because we'd love to hear from you guys. And once again, thank you so much for following along with our channel, all of our new subscribers. We're over 60,000 now and growing, and that's just amazing. Thank you so much for following along with us. If you haven't subscribed, we would love and be honored for you to subscribe to our channel, follow along with our crazy adventures, because Chris is wild. We're so thankful that you tuned in, and with that we say God bless
And safe travels.